Hi and welcome everyone. Friar Tuck here. This is my epoch, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about some homeless news. But I want to kind of give you guys an update. Wait for some people to show up and all that stuff. So as you see, I am in the sound lab. Hey, just a guest. Nice to see you. Glad to see you. Sorry about running a little bit behind today. Part of the reason why I was running behind is because okay, so I told you guys about the 7-day free trial I had to vidIQ, and quite frankly, it's going to be a game changer for me. So before my free trial ended, I had to set up a few scripts because what I eventually want to do is I want to move to a once a week posting. Still do my 2 live streams a week, but do 1 posting a week, and maybe add some more to the week as a bonus, but something to be more like. I want something that I can rely on. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do once a week, and it's going to be enough to get me the views. And part of getting the views is audience retention, because the longer that the audience watches the video, the more it pushes it out, the more people that watch it, the more views that I get, the more everything else that I get. Okay, so it becomes a snowball effect. So I created like 6 different scripts. One of them I'm going to be using for hobo tutorials, and that's going to be a little bit interesting. I'm not exactly sure when and where, but I am definitely going to be using it on the hobo tutorials in the next week or two as far as content goes. So tomorrow you'll be seeing a release of this first video that I did that was pretty much pre-done. I knew the topic that I wanted to talk about, so I went over into my daily ideas. And then it gives me a thumbnail, a title, a description, and it gives me an outline for a script. Now, you don't read the script, you don't follow the script line for line, word for word, and all that other stuff. What ends up happening is, is you kind of ad lib. It kind of works as a skeleton. So, because I'm not a script reader, and so I wanted to see, because that was going to be the next biggest thing. It's like, okay, great, I got it to do titles and thumbnails, but how is it going to help me as far as creating better content? Well, I'm really excited about the video that's coming out tomorrow. We're going to be talking about being homeless and using your cell phone for as a survival tool, especially in the modern era, and kind of what it means being homeless, what kind of tools you have available, kind of how you can make money, stuff like that. There's a lot of different nuances in it, and I really covered it. I think I covered it in a I'm really excited to see what the results are going to be. I still got to work on the thumbnail. It's set up as a premiere, so if you're a member, you're not going to be able to see this one early. I kind of want to do a baseline and kind of see how everything's going with it. Okay. So, it looks like we got 3 people here. So I got, DFH. Hey, what's up, Jeremy? Glad to see you. Hey, Joe, glad to see you. Hey, just a guest, glad to see you. Looks like I got the whole clan in here. Welcome to Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Let me take a moment, take a deep breath, grab something to drink, and then we will go ahead and get into this topic. But one thing before I get into that, I want to ask you guys, because I have Rugsy. He does this quite a bit for me, and I really appreciate it. And I think I want to turn Tuesdays into homeless news. Okay, now what is homeless news? Well, there's things that's happening within the homeless community that is being reported on the news, whether it be what's going on with the Supreme Court case that was recently heard last month. Here in a couple more weeks, we're going to get an actual decision on that. I am fairly confident from what I heard from the back and forth with Justice Gorsuch, is I think that the homeless camping ban is not going to be enforced. I think the Supreme Court is going to stick with the Ninth Circuit Court ruling, because unless there's something that we just don't know about, that nobody that was a wild card that we haven't been privileged enough in the public to hear. It looks like Bakersfield, Oregon, most likely will end up losing that case, which is a good thing if you're homeless. What does this mean if you're homeless? How does this affect you? So on and so forth. Okay, so how does this affect you in a couple of ways? with the Ninth Circuit Court decision, and I know that I keep beating this for some of you guys that keep hearing this, but this is important because it will help you kind of mold your homeless experience and kind of, feel safer when you're sleeping, understand the rules, so that once you understand the rules, you'll feel a little bit more comfortable, you'll sleep a little bit safer. So if you're in a city and the shelters are full, they cannot give you a ticket. They cannot criminalize you. They cannot trespass you for, especially sleeping on public property, because that's really what the whole thing was to begin with, all the way back in Boise. So, Joe, you might even know this guy. It was Martin v. Boise. But anyways, essentially, if you have to sleep outside and there's no room in the shelter, then they cannot give you a ticket, they cannot move you along, so on and so forth, because by doing that, it's considered cruel and unusual punishment, which is a violation of the Eighth Amendment. Also, the sit-stand laws, those are no longer applicable. I remember back in 2011, which is when this case actually started, and being in Hollywood, having to deal with the sit stand laws. Like anybody else, like could walk up and down the street if they wanted to sit there on the street and, like, take a deep breath or sit there on a bench or whatever, they could. But if you were homeless, you looked like you were homeless, the police knew you were homeless, they would keep you moving, because the whole idea was to keep you as uncomfortable as possible, so that you wouldn't stay there, because they're like, well, we can't necessarily tell you don't come here, get away, because you're a citizen, you have rights, but what we're going to do is we're going to make it about as uncomfortable as possible for you. And so that's a part of the reason why you have the problems that you do in LA, is because of how aggressive they got towards the homeless. If you would have actually started trying to find solutions instead of just creating the situation and then complaining about the end results of what was going on, it is what it is. Okay, so not only about the sit-stand laws, not only about sleeping, but it also gave you rights of citizenship, which, as a homeless person who's experienced homelessness off and on over the last almost 25 years, I will tell you that a homeless person getting rights of citizenship is a huge, huge deal, okay? Because up until that point in time, you didn't have rights of citizenship. In a city, what is your rights of citizenship? That means you get to use the park without being bothered or harassed. That means you get to use public property without being bothered or harassed. That means that you get to walk up and down, do all this other stuff, and and all those other things. So therefore, you get the rights of citizenships. You get protections, the same protections that the citizens, the housed citizens, get. Because up until that point in time, you were not considered a citizen, you were considered a traveler or a transient, which therefore negated a lot of or allowed them to criminalize homeless the way they did. So this is just one of those ways in which they're decriminalizing homelessness, but it's probably going to take 50 or 100 years before we get to that point. And, maybe we should start doing, especially on this channel, start taking a look at what Europe is doing, because I've heard a lot of people say that Europe takes better care of its homeless, but they have also a different culture, different lifestyle. So we might be looking into that shortly, because I'm a little bit curious of what's the difference between there and here, because I know that the way that they do prisoner reform in the criminal justice system is had better results than what we do here in America. Even though we think we're the best system, it's all about profit and greed, so therefore you cannot really offer any real solutions because it takes away from profit. Okay, so Rugsy sent me an article, and I thought it was absolutely funny. Did you know that there was a woman, and this was on Fox News. It was written by Fox News even. So there was this department store, right? And there's a sign, and it's kind of built into the building. And there's a door that's an entry to the back that allows you to go into the sign. Well, one day a construction worker was doing some work, and he noticed that there was an extension cord going up the side of the building. So he followed the extension cord to see what was going on with it. Well, come to find out, there was a lady living in there. She had a microwave and she had a desk, and she'd been there for a while. She was actually using that as her personal office. Now, they told her to move. She moved along. She left her stuff behind. She just packed up and walked out. But the lady actually, was doing something that, honestly, I could see where the department store might have a little bit of issue with something like this. I mean, come on, you got somebody, they're taking your power, so on and so forth. But then you have the choice. Are you going to be a business, or are you going to have, or are you going to be a human being that has compassion for your fellow human being? Was that lady doing something that was actually allowing her to support herself, take care of herself, and possibly lead her to the point where she could put a roof over her head? Or was she a house individual that was taking advantage of something because she didn't want to pay? Okay, so maybe getting to know that situation a little bit better might give us a little bit better of an understanding. But this lady, she did what she did. Okay, so I thought it was quite funny. So those were two of the articles that I wanted to talk about. Now there's another article. It's not necessarily in the homeless realm, but it does affect homelessness. And if you guys watch it, and I strongly encourage you guys to watch this probably within the next couple of days, but George Gammon did an interview with Canadian Prepper. If any of you guys saw that, type 1 in the comments. If you haven't seen it, type 2. I'm just curious to see who saw it. But there was some big things that really stood out to me in that. And I even called my old man afterwards, because my old man, he's like, gold, silver, gold, silver, gold, silver. Okay, so. Ironwood, I see that YouTube is not filtering your comments. You must have made them happy with whatever you did, because yeah, even your smiley face got filtered last time. So, but but anyways, one of the things that really stuck out to me was he was talking about going, I think it was from like Chile to, he was going across Central America, going across a bunch of third world countries. And all he wanted to do was use gold, silver, and Bitcoin, and so that he could get currency and so that he could do things. And he was talking about, what it was like to be able to go get it. And he was talking about the difference between a functional banking system and a dysfunctional banking system. Okay, so if we're going to go through an economic collapse here, if our banking system is dysfunctional, our banking system is completely collapsed, we are going to probably experience a lot of what George Gammon was talking about. And one of the things that he was talking about is like, okay, let's just say you were getting $200 an ounce for gold. You would take it to a dealer, and he'd only give you maybe $100 for that ounce, because of everybody wants cash. Cash becomes king. You need to have as much cash as possible, because that is what allows you to operate within commerce. And he said he had a much easier time being able to trade silver versus gold. He went into some of the tech cafes so that he could see if he could trade some Bitcoin. But he said it was just being able to travel on the road, get a hotel room, be able to pay for the things that they needed. They weren't able to, they struggled along to be able to do that, versus where he's going next time on his vacation to do the same thing. Is he's going, I think he said he's going to Turkey, but Turkey has a functional banking system. And so therefore he's going to have a lot more luck to be able to exchange Bitcoin and anything other than paper currency. So at the point where the federal government is looking at getting rid of paper currency, one, how is that going to affect the homeless? Well, right now, if you're homeless and you're trying to rummage money, and there's let's say you can't find a job, let's say there is no work, let's say whatever obstacles are in your way are preventing you from getting work. We're not going to go into the details, because we could have a 3-day long conversation about this. Okay, but there comes a point in time, a point where you actually need to panhandle, because you need money for, let's say, soap or toothpaste, or you're in an area that doesn't feed well, so therefore that's how you're going to be able to eat, and so on and so forth. But you've got so many drivers that are they're staring at their phone, they are looking around at other things. On the average basis, I would say that if you were panhandling today versus 10 years ago, probably about 1/3 of the drivers that are looking at you now actually see it, compared to 5-10 years ago, before distracted driving really became a big thing. So now it's becoming even harder to be able to panhandle, because you have so many distracted drivers. So this is why it's important to become an entertainer, to be able to do things that are going to cause people to look up. That's why I started having success using a funny sign, because it was funny. People would see me running around. People saw me getting pictures. They catch it out of the corner of their eye, because they're paying attention to their phone and a little bit of what's going on around them. So therefore, then they pop their head up. So therefore, if you're going to survive as a homeless person and be able to panhandle for some money for your basic needs, whatever those needs may be, you are looking at you're looking at it becoming much harder. And then what all of a sudden you're going to put your Cash App handle there? What happens when you put your Cash App handle? I put my Cash App handle on a sign once just to see what would happen. Never got a single dime. I don't think people even knew what the hell I was doing, because everybody's like, do you have a dollar? Well, you know what, we're in the digital age. There's no such thing as a dollar anymore. I got credits, I can't give it to you, sorry, I can't help you. It either becomes a plausible excuse to where you can deny helping a homeless person and not feel bad about it, or it becomes an actual issue because you would really like to be able to help that homeless person. Well, so how is it that we as the homeless are going to be able to survive in the future? Okay, that's what tomorrow's video is definitely going to be about, is how are the homeless going to survive as we move into all of this, as we get away from cash. Because if in a third world country cash is king, and then they take away cash, and yet you can't do Bitcoin and all this other stuff, what kind of conundrum is that gonna create? And the homeless are always the first ones to feel it, because we're the most vulnerable. It's just like being outside. You can feel a change in the wind much easier than if you live inside, because your body, your whole ecosystem is completely dependent on the outside environment. So therefore, if you got a gust of wind, you feel it a little bit more extreme than somebody who doesn't. And I think that that's really what the difference is between the homeless and the not. And if you want to know what's really, whether or not the homeless will be able to succeed, whether or not this country is completely gone, because once this country is completely gone, I don't, it's, everybody's homeless. Everybody loses everything. It becomes not only laissez-faire, but anarchy, and so on and so forth. But that's my thoughts based upon some of the stuff that I have been looking at. Okay, so I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna start answering some of your questions, because I see you guys light up chat. But I always like to give you guys a moment to. I always like to give you guys a moment to light up chat, so I can go through and we can keep this going. But that's the homeless news. If any of you guys have any news articles that are pertaining to homelessness, or how it affects homelessness, I try and keep my ear to the ground, but I can't necessarily always. So, you have various ways you can send it to me through my website, through Messenger, through my email, which is friartuck@hobotuck.com. There's various ways in which you can reach out and share the article with me, like Rugsy does. It would really it'll if you want to know something about it, then that's a great way. Like, hey, I wonder what his opinion is on that. Send me the article, and we'll talk about it on Tuesdays. Tuesdays will become more or less our homeless news and open topic day, and we'll kind of figure out what to do with Saturdays. But right now, I think Tuesday is going to be focused on homeless news, how the homeless are being affected, homeless awareness, homeless education, so on and so forth. Okay, Joe, Jeremy, DFH. Okay. I will say Boise has been an adventure. The police have seen to leave you alone. The shelter staff though are real pricks at times. Well, yeah, the reason why the cops are leaving you alone is because of the guy Martin, who sued the city of Boise. Actually, he countersued him because he didn't want to have that mark on his record, and quite frankly, because he did it. It benefited a lot of us homeless. And I think that there comes a point in time where we as the homeless have to start standing up if we actually want to be able to not just have rights, but to be respected and to actually have viable opportunities to get off the streets. Because right now, the way the system is designed is to harvest us and keep us on the streets. And so, it may behoove the homeless now, and myself included, because I'm not exempt from this. It might be time that we start pushing back a little bit, just so that we can have opportunities. Because just because you live outside doesn't mean you should lose any and all opportunities to rejoin society the way that society would like you to rejoin it. Now, but that's another different story. Okay. Okay, Ironwood. Is a house citizen the same as an apartment citizen? Love the NGO buzzwords. No, housed, and it's not necessarily, and Ironwood, that isn't an NGO, a buzzword. That's a homeless word. We call you housies for a reason. A housie is anybody who has four walls, whether you're sleeping in an apartment or whether you're sleeping in. We've always called you housies. You've been homeless, Ironwood, so you should also know the term housies. Housed is the more professional term, but out here we've always called you guys housies. Okay, so yeah, and the housies, yeah. If you ever hear a homeless person say "housey," what they're talking about is you, most likely. So yeah, for the most people are concerned you as homeless don't have rights. Um, yeah, but nobody really knows about it. I mean, even the homeless don't realize how they're being stripped of rights because we got so used to being treated like crap and being moved along and all this other stuff. And what are you going to do? Who are you going to complain to? You complain to you complain to your overlords. Your overlords are going to tell you you're delusional. Okay? So you have nobody to complain to, nobody to push back on. So therefore you think it's fine. And that is how the homeless have been churned for so many decades now. So, okay, why not move to Europe if it's better than the U.S.? I would think. I don't know, Ironwood. Why are you being so combative? I mean, it was just a statement. So, I would not think there is a lot to be homeless person. Well, Europe has a little bit different. They have difference in squatters' rights. So, like a lot of the places, you got to also look at their economy, how it's in shambles. In France, you can't get a legitimate above the table job until you're in your 30s. Okay, because everybody else has to work in the underground economy because of the way that the workforce is set up, and so most people are making money in the underground economy, and that's why France has to have such high tax rates. But only highly skilled laborers can get the jobs. Okay, so do you as a human being have the dignity and have the right to live? Yes. Just because it's like, hey, what is Europe doing, does that mean I want to go live there? No, 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 no. That's just what people do when they're trying to either bait you or they're just being overly emotional. So Ironwood, I would expect much better from you, much like U.S. states move to the one that you think is better. Well, you know what, that's the great thing, but there's no good place to move anymore. Okay, Florida, if you're homeless right now, they're gonna force you into a camp. Okay, and we don't know what they're gonna do to you if you refuse that camp. Some of these states, they're making it to a point where if you get caught sleeping outside or if you're on public property, they will try and charge you with a felony. Now, what's going on in the Supreme Court is the only thing keeping them at bay. But if that ever gets overturned, you want to see all the homeless end up in jails, internment camps, and euthanized. Yeah, definitely that's gonna happen. But the thing is like, hey, where do you go? There's nowhere to go anymore. The government has created the problem, and then instead of fixing the problem, they want to sweep it under the rug, and then demonize the very people that they screwed over. At some point, because look at what's going on right now in the economy. Okay, mass layoffs, workforce automation, advanced robotics, artificial intelligence. What is that? How disruptive is that to the workforce? So the average person now can't go in there. Now, how is the government being blamed on all this? Well, the government and their policies is picking winners and losers. They're making it because they are too busy, um, uh, uh, you know, dealing with the what do you call them, the lobbyists, and oh, this lobbyist wants a law here, so yeah, he's going to give me money, I'm going to go sponsor this bill, I made the money, who cares what damage it does. And you have a segment of society that looks at another segment of society in the same way that Nazis looked at Jews and blacks, in the same way that the Klan looked at blacks, in the same way that the Black Panthers looked at whites. Okay, when you start looking at somebody as an inferior human being, and then you allow and then you go and you lobby your public officials to create policies that align with your line of thinking to be inhumane to another human being, things that you yourself wouldn't tolerate, but yet you think another human being should tolerate it because you want to take your frustration on life out on them. Okay, this is really where the government is playing the biggest role in harming the homeless, is because you have people out there, just like you have people out there that don't like dogs. You have people out there that just don't like. Okay, and when you allow those people not only the opportunity to have a voice, but to be the minority and force the majority, or just to do inhumane things to another human being because we made it legal in a law. Okay, so that's just something to think about, and that's just one thing that gets me heated, because the more that society breaks down, the more I'm watching this happen. I'm to a point where I'm waiting for that one person to finally set me off. Because you have people that just come up out of the random woodworks. They think that for whatever reason, they had a bad day. Now they're coming to take it out on you. Okay, if I did that to you, that would be not okay. You would, this and that and the other. But I'm supposed to accept it as a homeless person. I'm supposed to think that I deserve it and that I'm nothing more than a worthless human being. Okay, but yet you could go around there. You wouldn't tolerate that same treatment, but yet you expect us to be able to deal with this. And this is, as the year and a half, almost 2 years has gone along that I've been out here, it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's leading to a point where the homeless are getting frustrated. The homeless are getting more aggressive. The homeless are getting more amped up. I mean, you can see how I'm starting to get a little amped up, because this is getting to a point where this is just, it's not right. And when you have no rights of recourse, when you have no way to be able to protect yourself, what do you do? Okay, that's the $1,000,000 question that nobody can answer. So, people on YouTube seem to suffer from mass delusion that being homeless is a choice and is also super easy to deal and get up. For some people, Joe, homelessness is a choice. Now, as my old man says, it sucks when somebody makes your choice for you, but you made a list of decisions that put you in that situation to where that choice was made for you. So in a lot of ways, if you really want to get down to the technicality, yes, homelessness is a choice, but it's a choice that was made for you. Some people, like myself, who have been doing it off and on long enough, it really does become a choice. The last 3 times that I've come outside have been because I've chosen to come outside. Not because the decisions were made for me, but because I finally had enough. I wanted to turn over a new leaf and I wanted to start over. And so therefore, I chose to become homeless. It's very small a very small amount of people that actually choose to be homeless, but everybody in some form or fashion, whether directly or indirectly, has chosen homelessness, whether it be by their prior behavior or by their prior choices. Okay, you make a choice to start a business, your business fails. Okay, you end up homeless. Was that a bad choice? Was that something you should never do? You should sit there and reprimand yourself? No, commend you on taking the risk, but there are risks, there are consequences. And when you made that choice to take that risk, you also made that choice to accept that consequence. Okay, so especially when they limit at the ATM withdrawals to $40 a day cash. Oh my God. I've been hearing about that, but I asked my bank about it. They say they're not doing it. I'm using Fifth Third. You guys, if you guys have one in your area and, you're having that issue, I look at Fifth Third. They don't seem to be having that issue. I haven't, because I asked him, I said, so if I want to take out $2,000, can I take out $2,000? Yeah, not a problem as long as we got it on hand. I'm like, really? That's it? You're not going to ask me a million questions? They're like, no, we're not going to do that. No. So I don't know. It might be certain regions, certain areas, certain banks, certain types of people. We might be having Karens that are abusing their authority. We don't know, okay, because we just don't know. So, I mean, some banks are doing this, some banks aren't. You just kind of got to do your research. From what I understand, Fifth Third isn't doing that. That's part of the reason why I'm staying with them, even though I know that they're going to be one of the banks that goes under. Okay, so how can use Bitcoin a lot easier in Turkey? Because you go to internet lounges. And at those internet lounges, you find little crypto kids or little techie kids that want to trade, and so they'll give you currency in exchange for your Bitcoin. And that's the way he was talking about doing it. I'd suggest going and watching the interview that Canadian Prepper did with James Gammon, George Gammon. Sorry, he's really good. I've pawned metal. I already have to buy more silver. I think it could spike the way stocks did for the meme stock era. I don't know. I really don't know, Alfred. I am not a precious metals person. The only reason why I would ever get into precious metals, and me and my old man have had lots and lots of discussions about it, because when you really look at it, they took away gold and silver being money for a reason. There's not enough. Okay, to be able to facilitate all of the trillions of dollars in commerce that we do as a planet, how much gold do you really have to have? And then all of a sudden it becomes lopsided. At least with the fiat currency, you can have your ebb and flows. You can have you can have your resets. Yeah, it's going to be painful, but we would not be able to conduct the commerce that we conduct on the levels in which we conduct without a fiat currency. There's just not enough gold and silver in circulation. Okay, so that's just, it's an exchange value. If we go from U.S. dollars to Ameros, okay, you can exchange it. That's the only way I've ever looked at it. But if there's a full-on global banking collapse, or even a banking collapse in the United States, and you don't have your money elsewhere outside of the country, having gold and silver probably isn't going to work for you if George Gammon, what he said, is correct. Okay, so okay, so Alfred, silver is the comic and will be papered over, way different than stocks. Well, Jeremy, one thing that both you and Alfred, you guys, this article probably came out about 3, 4, 5 years. No, it came out during the '08 GFC, and during that time, the United States always is putting gold on deposit with the World Bank. And they were doing an audit, and they started realizing that a lot of what the United States was sending was plated with a metal that weighed as much as gold, and so therefore it was able to be a ruse. But when they started drilling into it is when they started realizing it. And the United States doesn't have the gold reserves on deposit because we were running a hustle, because again, there's not enough gold and silver in circulation to be able to facilitate commerce. Go look at what happened during the collapse of the first colonials. Okay, not the second colonials, not post-revolution colonials, but before the revolution, the first colonials, which is what led to the American Revolution. Okay, that's what inspired the Boston Tea Party, was the collapse of the colonials and making it illegal to use. Look at how that was used, and used in tandem with gold and silver. I think that if we're ever going to build a proper currency, we need to look at why the first colonials worked and the second colonials didn't. And that will explain our whole system, why we have booms, busts, and fails. Okay? Because they implemented the same thing, but the second time around, it was the only currency, whereas they used it in tandem with gold and silver. Gold and silver paid your taxes. Colonials did everything else within society, so it allowed the government to be able to have it, while the colonists were able to facilitate their own commerce. The second they took it off, they had something like the Great Depression, but worse. There was a lot of starvation, a lot of poverty, a lot of dispossession, because the Crown Bank of England and its greed, which is why people got pissed and decided to fight the British government, and we became the United States of America. Okay, so okay, silver and okay, funny sign does work. Yes, Joe, it does. Comex, damn autocorrects. Okay, okay, yeah, iron. They gave a few of those here in Boise. Okay. Okay, then they're taking away from people who work and give it to the ones who don't want to work. Please answer that. Well, PC Central, there's a huge flaw. Do you pay taxes? Okay, so the lie that they tell you is that your income tax goes to pay the federal budget. Ronald Reagan, he posted a report as soon as he came into office to be more efficient, found out that not a single dime of your income tax ever makes it to the federal budget. It's tariffs and other fees. When you go and you pay this fee and that fee, that's how the federal government. The income tax goes into a private trust that gets abandoned after 365 days and goes to a private corporation, also known as the IRS. I would strongly recommend you read a book called Fruit from a Poisonous Tree. So with that being said, okay, let's just say that the illusion is true. Let's just say all these naysayers are lying, and even Ronald Reagan was lying to you. Every dime of your income tax goes to the federal budget. Okay, well, you're paying for things that you're not even using, okay? Because one day, you may need to use them. Because what people don't realize is that the United States is an insurance contract. Your taxes are your premium. And when you lose your job, you get unemployment insurance. And in the same way that the federal government, so when you pay your taxes, you are paying your premium. You're paying your premium for all those benefits so that when you cannot provide for yourself, so that when you need to take on those benefits are available to you. So if that be the premise, why is somebody complaining that I'm taking benefits? Didn't I work in the system? Didn't I contribute? Didn't I pay my premiums? Yes, I paid my premiums and I didn't even ask for any refunds. So I overpaid my premiums because I knew one day I might use it. Or, I'd already been chronically homeless, so I know I was kind of using it anyway, so why take back? Okay? So if that be the case, why are you accusing me of taking something from you when I paid for it? Okay, I paid my premiums. Now I get to use it. Now quit complaining about it. It's like sitting there saying, yes, you have to pay for this, and then you can't use it. Okay, and if you use it, I'm going to shame you for using it. Well, why the hell are you robbing me then? Because that's basically what's happening, is that's theft. You're taking something without somebody being able to use it. We pay our taxes, we participate in the system, we go to school, we follow the laws, we do our voting, we participate in the system. These are the safety nets that we as a society have chosen to provide for ourselves. Okay, so if you lose your job, should I complain that you're getting unemployment insurance? Should I call you lazy and tell you to go get a job because you're a bum and you're taken from the system? No. Why? Because your employer is required to pay for it. You don't actually pay your unemployment insurance. Your employer does. So he has every right to complain about you, call you a lazy bum, right? I mean, with your logic, that's exactly what you're saying. Okay. Whew. All right. So, and that's something that really frustrates me. If I'm paying my premiums, why am I being chastised for using something that I paid for? Okay. So, okay. Friar Tuck, Gainesville, Florida did a sweep and there's a problem with one of their shelter. Just can't find the article. You're probably talking about a Grace Marketplace. Okay, so they have two shelters. They have Grace Marketplace and then they have one downtown. The one downtown has women and children, and the only way that you can get in there is if you go get a warrant check, because they have women and children there and they don't want, predators and stuff like that in there. Okay, great. So it's most likely Grace Marketplace. Grace Marketplace has always been the eyesore. The city needs it, but they don't want it there because they don't want to spend the resources. They're even talking about building a police department right next to it so that their police don't have to go very far to go deal with stuff. But the thing is it's a laissez-faire system. It's a no barrier shelter, and with no barrier, that means when the cops are coming, they're gonna warn you. With no barrier, that means you could come in wielding a knife and a gun, and they can't do anything about you, even though the rules say no. Okay? Because there is no barrier to entry. You could come in regardless of whether you follow the rules or not. Okay? And what do you think's happening? You got laissez-faire. And with laissez-faire, this is what happens. We as a globe have slowly descended into that over the last 20 years, and it's getting really bad. Because right now, people are more worried about what you're doing than taking care of themselves. Hey, Cherokee, nice to see you. Morals are a gray area at times. Yes, they are. Okay, so, hey, what's up, Outdoors? Nice to see you. I've seen your comments on other channels too, Outdoors. It was kind of cool. Okay, so let's see, Hoagie Macintosh. What kinds of firearms would you recommend for being homeless? Honestly, I wouldn't really. I think a firearm is okay. I'll even tell you this right now. Okay, so I was waiting for my package this morning. So Alfred sent me a package. Plus, I have my replacement backpack coming. They were supposed to both be there. For some reason, they didn't show up. I don't know why. I'm gonna go back on Monday. I'm gonna presume that there may have been a clerical error. It might have been put in a spot. Nobody knows. I'm gonna go back, and if it ain't there on Monday, I'm gonna raise stink because I'm just gonna raise stink. Okay, but while I'm sitting out there waiting for Mary Magdalene House to open up, one of the guys that comes through, he's talking about, all the young kids, man, they don't want to fight anymore. They're too busy pulling out a weapon instead of, using their hands, okay? Instead of, going fist to fist. Most people now are too hell-bent on using a weapon, but do they know how to use a weapon? Okay, a lot of people have these, but they don't necessarily know how to use them. They don't practice with them. They don't train with them. They think, oh yeah, I know how to, I have it, I bought it, I automatically know how to use it. Oh, it's very easy to aim, so on and so forth. But aiming is not really that easy with the firearm, in my opinion. But I can aim better with my throwing a football than I ever could with a pistol. Okay, so with that being said, on one hand, yeah, you're probably going to want something like that, but back in the early days of the country, they used to have like these little one or two shot buckshots. They were a little small, like kind of like how my how my butt plug is really small. Okay, well, the same thing. And for those of you that are wondering, let me pull it out so that you guys don't think that I'm actually talking about a real butt plug. Okay, I nicknamed this thing the butt plug. Okay, so but you know, it's as you're gonna want something that's like it's small, it's defense, it's gonna maim them. It's not gonna be something that's gonna be fatal, because if it becomes fatal, then you have to deal with other legal consequences. So if you're gonna think about something like that, think about something that is going to maim them, that is going to, you know, put a hole in them just enough to be able to get away. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. Okay, so yo Joe, okay. My dealer here is actually from Philly, and he said homeless in Boise is cake compared to back east. In some places, yeah. West Coast is always cake. The West Coast, I mean, Boise is very hostile to the homeless, but compared to the rest of the West Coast. But yeah, West Coast is pretty easy. That's why I like the West Coast, but that's why there's so many homeless there too. Okay, is because as time goes along, the poor just kept moving more and more west. So all the poor ended up on the West Coast. That's why you have so many homeless there, and also those that are housed, their families were generationally poor as well. So, but anyways, that whoever sent the super chat, thank you. So, but do I have kids? I have a son. Yes. The question is volunteer homelessness moral? I would say no when taking from people that need the resources. Yeah, sorry, I effed up the first one. Okay, so the question is volunteer homeless. So homeless by choice, okay, or choosing to be homeless. Are you? Is it a moral question? Okay, so your parents taught you that if you can't pay your bills, then you got to figure something out, right? So if you can't pay your rent, what do? You move out. Okay, yeah, you chose to move out instead of going through an eviction, screwing up your record, so on and so forth. How is that immoral? You're doing the right thing, because even though our government isn't financially responsible, we are forced to out here, whether we want to be or not. Okay, so with that in mind, think of it from that perspective. You know, making the choice to be homeless, again, so a lot of the times the choice is made for you. Is it immoral to do it? No. Okay, it's immoral in the sense if you come out with an entitled attitude. Okay, but most homeless don't come out with an entitled attitude. Usually the entitlement comes from years and years of frustration. Entitlement comes from having a lot of people just sit there and coddle you, because there are some places around here in the world that will sit there and go, "Oh, you poor homeless person. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa." Yeah, right. All you're doing is patronizing the person. You're not helping them, so on and so forth. It's just like people who think that Sam can do no wrong. All you're doing is patronizing her and putting her in a bad position. Now, is homelessness immoral? No, it's not. If you're to choose it. Now, is homelessness immoral? Yes. But the person choosing to be homeless is not the immoral one. It is society itself, because it allows it to happen because we're too busy profiting off of your very existence, instead of realizing that every human being in the modern society has certain requirements, certain expectations that are there to be met, because society itself requires it. Society does not want me sleeping outside. So therefore, they should not be allowing people to profit off of me putting a roof over my head. Okay, same thing with water. Water comes from the ground. The earth provides it. It's part of our environment. Okay, great. You bottle it. You can charge for the bottle, but you can't charge me for the water. Okay, but yet you have water that they're paying a penny for, and they're charging you $1 for it. Okay, think of it from that perspective. Okay, homelessness is immoral not because of the person making the choice, but because society itself has chosen to profit off of the very existence of human beings, and therefore is profiting off of misery, because they cannot make a profit unless there's a problem. So create the problem, create the misery, get the money, become greedy. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. So, by the way, Tuck, it is not just the homeless nowadays, but yes, the homeless get it more. I know. Okay. Hey, Tuck, any updates on the blue states versus red states homelessness? Where to be? Okay. Yes, I have not gotten down to that one. Everything's finally settling down. I've got some things that are going on. Let me kind of give you a little bit of a short answer on this, system nomad. Um, Red states, it's like this. If you want to help yourself, if you got 2 feet, 2 hands, you can go to work. If you're willing to help yourself, which means you're willing to do something in exchange for something, whether it be sweeping out something or whatever, they will respect you down there. Okay, you will get a lot of respect if you're willing to work in the South. Now, they are a little nuts in the sense of, why would you go to a job that is not going to make you enough money to be able to put a roof over your head, i.e., because my stepmom and I had this conversation once. Like, yeah, he goes to work every day, but he da 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 da. The guy, it turns out, guy was making like $600-800 a month, just going to work, couldn't make enough money to put a roof over his head. It's like, well, why would you go get another job or figure something else out? Because see, that's the way the North is. In the South, they're like, no, he's got a job, he's good. No, as long as he's got a job. It doesn't care that he's homeless, that he's miserable, that he can't survive, that he can't feed himself, that he can't take care of himself. He's got a job, and that's all that's okay. That's the craziness in the South, okay? And so when it comes to, if you're going to survive in the South, you better have a hustle about you. You better be respectful, and property rights is very, very important. But the thing is, though, these good old boys, they're very self-righteous. They think that they think that it goes back. What is the old adage? Pull the log out of your eye before pulling the sliver out of your brother's eye. It's one of those situations. Now, what is it like up north, being homeless up north? Well, you're going to have a lot more access to services, but nobody's going to really be there to help you because, up north, it's more liberal. Therefore, they give money to the government so that the government can take care of it because they want the government to be efficient. It's better to pull our money together and tackle this problem than it is for one person to do it one person at a time. Okay, so that is a night and day between the South. In the South, you're not going to get any benefits, but you get plenty of help as long as you're willing to be productive. In the North, you don't have to be productive, but you won't get any help because all of the services that are put in there to help are designed to keep you there. Okay, so it's better to be homeless down south in some ways, but in other ways it's not, because you have people that go out there, like Sam and I had to keep constantly hiding. There shouldn't be anything wrong if I take a patch of woods that isn't even anybody's property. People will come up and go, oh, this is my property. I'm like, well, can I see your deed? No. Okay, well, then this isn't your property. Oh, I'm calling the cops. And the cops, because the whole attitude is we hate homeless and we think that they should all be exterminated. Therefore, the whole attitude, including the police, becomes more hostile. The people are more hostile towards you. Versus up north, they're like, oh, you're just down on your luck. Okay, so I mean, there's huge differences, but in completely different way. Our country is very bipolar when it comes to dealing with the issue. It's either we hate you or you can do no wrong. It's not, okay, let's figure out a solution, because neither side wants a solution. They both want to complain about it. They look at it and go, oh, well, this and that and the other. And it's very frustrating. Quite frankly, that's the number one reason why I don't like being homeless down south. I mean, I love I love the fact that I can get work and do stuff like that. But what I don't like is the attitude and the amount of hostility, because and the thing is you'll talk to them after they become homeless, like my buddy Puckett. Okay, if you go watch the interview I did with him, he'll even tell you, it's like, yeah, I used to be that guy that used to be hostile, make fun of homeless, throw things at homeless. Now look at me, I'm homeless. And all those things that I thought about those people were completely wrong, because it's indoctrination. In the same way that white supremacists are indoctrinated to hate anybody that's not white, or any supremacists, so on and so forth, they're indoctrinated that way. The South is indoctrinated the same way towards homeless people, and that is what's wrong with the South. Okay, so I hope that kind of answers your question. So people are on the edge nowadays. Yes, they are. Referring to Argentina, that's how they are battling inflation. What is with gold and silver, or with Bitcoin? Boise is a red state, not but blue city. In aside from, yeah, of course, all the major cities. But Boise is enough of a red state, and also it is Mormon country, and Mormons are conservative. Well, I don't know. Ever since Trump, Mormons stopped being conservative. But being Mormon, you were actually you always vote. Why do you think? What's his name? God, the two-faced guy out of Utah. He ran for president. You guys know who he is. Yeah, that Mormon guy. You know, Mormons have always been conservative. They've always been on the conservative side. They're always on the side of the military. You know, they're about God's gun and country. Okay, so Idaho is a Mormon stronghold because a lot of them left. Actually, Idaho, Nevada, and Utah are all Mormon strongholds. Nevada, actually, Las Vegas used to be a Mormon settlement. So, okay, let's see, Boise. Okay, is homelessness different in red states versus blue states? Well, yeah, I just kind of talked about that a little bit. It is different because the things you got to do to survive are different. Now, Sam and I, it would be a lot easier for us in the sense that, yeah, we could go out in the woods. There's a lot more wooded area, but again, you've got people that will come up there that it is socially acceptable to beat up on the homeless, and so therefore, you know, your homeless are actually a lot more hostile, a lot more violent as well. So, Canadian Prepper had some guy on the channel that said people did it. Yes, that was George Gammon. That's who I'm talking about. And if they did, they were, yes, that's exactly. That's exactly what I was talking about, Cherokee. Silver is going to be huge. And yeah, that's exactly what he was saying. So I said he can use Bitcoin easier, not how. Oh, okay. I saw the Canadian Prepper. Okay, yeah. So if you're Canadian, how do you deal with the climate while being homeless? Well, I'm not Canadian. I'm in Ohio, so I'm not Canadian. But you know, I will tell you, it's probably a lot like Minnesota. So I knew some kids that were in Minnesota. Yeah, you go, I think it's like the Superdome or something like that. You go outside for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops, make $200, $300, $400 because it's so cold. You can only go out there for such a short period of time before it becomes fatal. And so a lot of the homeless, yeah, they make a lot of money, but they're stuck inside, so they can't really do anything with it. So yeah, like once a week you go out, you make $300. That just kind of keeps you going. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit different there, but that's probably something very similar. From a girl that I talked to that was homeless up there, it's a lot more. It's a little bit kinder than what we get here in the States. So we have valuables like cars and other goods that just as good as money, but gold will be better in the West. I'm not sure about that, Cherokee. I don't think so. I think that gold and silver is just it's something that is older that we as a society, I don't know. I don't think it's the solution that we need. Maybe 50 years ago, but not now. Money is backed up by hallucination now. Well, actually, no, it's not. You and I are collateralized as the money. Okay, how do you think they were able to create it? If you've never heard the stories, I mean, well, you and I mean, why do you think that there's a serial number on your birth certificate? Okay, they used to be black, now they're red, and they've changed a lot of it over the years because the freemen exposed it. But no, it is not. If you think that there is no collateral, no, you and I are the collateral. You and I were sold out on the international market to create this money because we are much more valuable than anything else because we are productive. We have unlimited commercial energy. Okay, and having unlimited commercial energy makes us more valuable, which means therefore you could trade us out on the international market. Okay, so this is why I talked about the 14th Amendment citizen. That's why that video was important, is because it will help you understand what's really going on. So it's always good to have a backup account just in case a regional bank fails. Mine is Ally Bank. I don't know. I think I want to start looking into something when I get to a point where I can actually afford to have a second bank account. Like I'll be housed up before that happens. But you know, if I ever have a chance to have a second bank account, I'm gonna have it international. I'm not gonna keep my money in the States. I think right now, if you wanted to put your money in a foreign country and have it be safe, you are better off putting it in China, Russia, Belarus, anywhere other than the West, because the whole West is collapsing. Now it will take the rest. It will take the rest of the world with it, but I think that we are probably going to face it the worst because we're the most dependent. Okay. Money isn't backed up by anything anymore. Yeah, actually, yes, it is. So, you're a good speaker, good charisma you have. Thanks, system. Much appreciated. I try. I'm in Canada and I got nice piles of 90% coinage. Oh, that's good. It's so scarce and more valuable than just junk. Well, back in the day, my grandfather used to tell me, go to the bank, take $500, go to the bank, and get junk silver. And then you go find all the old silver. You take the rest of it, exchange it back for dollars, and you just keep doing that until you get enough silver. Okay, but they don't do that anymore. So, yeah, iron, I stack loads of weapons. Okay, you look like you're part wolfman, coyote mixed with caveman and Chewbacca. So, okay. So, love you, Tuck. Stay safe. All right. Thank you, system. Did those packages ever come? Alfred, no. I went there. They said that they didn't find it. They went back. They looked it up both under my legal name and my alias because they collect my mail under my alias. So, for some reason, it did not show. Like I said, I'm going to go back Monday and I'm going to check that out. So, I don't even know what you sent me, Alfred. I'm presuming it might be a water filter. I'm thinking that's what it is, but I asked you in chat. You just told me that it would be here on Friday. So, I'm kind of curious what it is you're sending me so I know what to expect. But either that or I can just let it be a surprise when I open it up. So, okay, so let's see here. Look at Confederate money from the Civil War and was legal tender until war ended. Yeah, well, even the greenbacks. So, no fail. No, I got my food stamps. Okay, if I drink Coke, I love my cherry Coke. Now, am I a Coke or a Pepsi person? I'm a Coke person. I like the cinnamon in it, and actually, the cinnamon's really good if you have any sugar issues. But yeah, normally the Feo is when I'm buying it using cash. I've got my food stamps in. Actually, tonight Sam and I are going to be having chili dogs, and that's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to that. So it's called If You Need It, Not When They bank on the fact most die before they need benefits. Yeah, I mean, people are proud, and the way that we put the stigma, it's like, why does the government collect taxes and then we shame each other for taking it? It's like, here, let's assist the government in robbing you. We're gonna make you. No, you shouldn't be ashamed of it. See, my grandfather who turned down being an E10. That was his big thing, is if you paid for it, if you earned it, it's yours. Nobody can shame you for it. Nobody should get mad at you, because on the other side of my family, I never told my grandfather that I took out student loans to go to college, because if he would have found out, he would have now he'd roll over in his grave, but he'd have had a heart attack, because on my mom's side of the family, you're supposed to pay taxes, not take anything. Okay, but he also taught from a different perspective, whereas my grandfather was like, you earned it, it's yours, you paid for it, use it. And so, I mean, that is basically the conflicting, the conflicting problem that we have as a society, is that we have one side that says you paid for it, you earned it, you take it, and the other one says that I don't care if you paid for it or not, it's not yours, you can't take it. Well, why am I complicitly allowing somebody to rob me? I mean, really, if you're going to take that, what you're doing is you are willfully allowing somebody to rob you. Would you willfully let somebody walk up on the street and pick your pocket? Well, if you're going to pay for it, you might as well use it, okay? And you shouldn't feel guilty about it either. So, fuck the system. I worked the whole life and had zero say in what they take now. I need it, and they hold out on stuff I need. Yeah, I mean, of course, because you're expendable. We're nothing. Just think of it like this. Unless you are in the top 10% of income earners, you're a plebe, okay? That's the way that they look at you. You're uneducated. You lack money skills. You lack self-discipline. You lack any wisdom, any gumption, anything else like that. In the same way that that most people look at homeless, the rich look at everybody else. Okay, they look at you the same way. They look at you as lazy and stupid. In the same way that housies look at homeless as lazy and stupid. Okay, so if you don't like it when your elites do it to you, why do you do it to another human being? Okay, what you do to others, others will do to you. So if you know, it works out that way. Okay, so I wish I could smoke a blunt with you, Tuck. You're a chill dude. Oh man, I would love to smoke a blunt. I ran out of weed. If anybody wants to, you'd have to send it through Cash App or through PayPal. But if anybody wants to buy me some weed, I ran out today, actually right before this. That's kind of why you see me shaking a lot, is because my anxiety is naturally peaked because just not having it. But anyways, if anybody wants to, down in the description is my tip jar. Send it through Cash App or through through PayPal, and then I can go get it. Otherwise, it won't come until Tuesday. I get paid on Tuesday anyways, but I'll get weed on Tuesday if I don't get it today. So, but hey, if one of you guys feel like throwing something my way, do it through Cash App. Much appreciated. And then I'll just go get weed in the morning. So, okay, let's see. Right on, night and day difference between Boise shelter and the one down the street, probably, because it's about mentality, where they come from. When I walked island of Puerto Rico, I slept outside in parks. Being exposed so much made it hard to sleep, even though I was safe. How do you sleep in peace? Do you get good sleep? Oh yes. I get great sleep. I get some damn good sleep, honestly. Last night I slept great. I have about a 4-hour window when you can't wake me up because I'm just that gone. That's how long I've been off and on the streets. That's how comfortable I've become out here. Now, at first, the noises are going to bother you, but what you need to understand is that there's a white noise. Start listening to the constants. Let the constants be there and kind of do it. Like when you're sleeping out in the woods, you listen to the crickets. You fall asleep to the sound of the crickets. You call it a form of meditation if you want. Okay. Sleeping outside is not that bad. If it's too hot, you sleep on top of your sleeping bag. If it's too cold, you get in. If it's kind of a little bit of both, well, then you just unzip it and use it as a blanket. That way you can be half in your sleeping bag, half out. Okay. The thing is, your sleeping bag is your climate control. And when you realize that, it will be much easier to sleep outside, because when it gets cold, I crawl in my sleeping bag, even if it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because, I'm cold, I need to be warm, and it sends my body into shock. So, okay, connection lost. Okay. All right, so let's see here. I've noticed one thing about you: always find a way to absolve yourself or make an excuse for yourself, living off the system. Reminder, you're currently not paying into it. Says who? Says who? JHL. Have you seen my tax bill? Have you seen my taxes? Okay. And quite frankly, how am I not paying into the system? I got to pay sales tax. Sales tax goes to pay for shelters. Sales tax goes to pay for all that. So tell me I'm not paying tax, because I got to pay cash for a lot of things. Okay. So tell me I'm not paying for my own way. The homeless get taxed way more than you ever will, because we get nickel and dimed all day long just to be able to have something basic. Okay. So to say that I'm absolving myself while not paying into it, it shows exactly how much you really know. So I hope you find a stable shelter one day, Tuck. Nobody will allow Sam in there. So since they won't allow Sam in there, I've conceded I will never go into a shelter. I'm okay with that. So this country went to hell. Oh, hold on. This country went to hell after World War II and the advent of laissez-faire capitalism. Alfred, finally somebody else who says laissez-faire. Yes, I totally agree. But that was what made us the wealthiest nation in the world too, is because we took that attitude. Are you familiar with Invisible People? Yes, I am. He has reached out to me to do a live stream together. I've sent him messages on multiple platforms. He's never responded to me. I don't know how else to get in contact with him. He reached out to me. I reached out to him. Maybe one day he'll do a live stream with me, but I don't know. But yes, he has reached out to me, and I'm willing to do an interview with him. But again, he's got to check his spam filter. I emailed him because he gave me 2 ways to contact him. You can't send him messages to his personal account on Twitter, but yet he gave that as a way to be able to give him a message. So yeah, no. If he ever decides that he wants to do a live stream with me, he'll get serious about it. I've reached out to him. I say things because people ask me. But yeah, I would love to do a live stream with him. I think it would benefit this channel a lot, and it would give me exposure to other people. But you know, it is what it is. So Nomad, he doesn't want stable shelter. How do you know what I want, JHL? Do you actually get to do my thinking for me? Do you feel what I feel? Do you think what I think? Are you actually did you write my plan for me? How much do you know? So they said your bag here, they check your packs, that they pat you down, do drug and alcohol checks, they ask you personal questions. It's invasive as hell. Yes, because based upon the boxes in which you check it means they're funding. What they're trying to do is get every last dollar from the government. So Invisible People on YouTube is a great spotlight. Yes, I would love them, but you know, Alfred, thank you. Tuck, I want you to watch Hobo with a Shotgun movie. Hobo with a Shotgun. Is it on YouTube? If it's on YouTube, I'll definitely watch it. You know, because I've got to take a day off. Okay. So one thing I learned when I ran my janitorial business is when I first started, I never took a day off. I was like, screw it. Who needs a day off, right? So because I never took a day off, after probably about a month and a half, 2 months, I started realizing the effects of what it's like to work without a day off, and I started running into things, and like my shins were all bruised. I'd start tripping upstairs, falling downstairs, running into walls. Like my whole balance and my whole visual was so off that I actually had to take about 3 or 4 days off just to be able to give my body enough rest. This morning I woke up going through something like that, and I guess I didn't realize how hard I've been pushing myself, but I have. And you know, it is something else. So am I homeless? Yes, by the technicality of it, but yeah, I mean, I sleep outside, so what? Yeah, Levi, 3 weeks Tuesday. All right. Okay, so that's to Joe. I'm glad to see that you guys are having conversations amongst each other. That's nice. Wu-Tang Clan said cash rules everything around me. Yep. Okay. At Tuck, do you know the meaning of behind the unhoused terms hobo, vagrant, vagabond, etc.? I've heard it. I just don't care enough. I don't care. It's just a title. It doesn't define who I am. If a title defined who I am, then I would have a lot more problems. Okay? But no, a title doesn't define who you are. It's just how they identify you. Okay, whether you're yellow, purple, or green, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's just a way to identify you, to put you within an economic class. Do you, okay, whether the system is unfair or not, never stop trying to improve your situation. Yeah, what do you think I'm doing? I've been working on this YouTube channel for quite some time. It's finally taken off. It's finally doing good. I'm finally getting where I want to go with it, but you know, it's been a lot of hard work, and you know what? It's nice to be able to start reaping the rewards, but it's so slow to catch up because everything is 60 days in the rears. So I won't really get to see the results of everything that I did over the last 2 weeks until for another 2 months. Okay, and I'm hoping that I hit that 5,000 mark by then, because that's going to open up another door for me, and I'm hoping that that is going to be my solution out of here. So wise, yeah, well, you know, experience breeds knowledge and wisdom. I've experienced a lot because that is the purpose of life, to experience, and through experience you gain knowledge and wisdom. I just like to share. I've always wanted to teach in some form or fashion, and so that's why I do what I do. So okay. All right, guys, you guys are really blowing up chat. I wonder if this may be the first live stream. I may not get all the way down to them because I don't know. So, but here in about another 15 minutes, though, I got to stop because I got to have time to pack me and Sam up and get out of here. But as long as you don't cause trouble and keep your substance abuse out of the public, most people don't care. It's not like that, Joe. I watch people smoke crack right in front of the cops. Cops won't do anything. Okay, happens everywhere. Okay, whether it be Gainesville, whether it be Waycross, whether it be, it doesn't matter. People do their dope out in the open, and there's no hiding it anymore. it's that was one of the strangest things when I came back out here. That was the strangest thing, and still hard for me because I'm still used to going and hiding in a back alley, hiding behind a dumpster just to smoke a bowl. Okay. Now, I mean, I walk down the street in front of a cop, blow it in his face, and nobody's going to do anything. Am I going to do that? No. But the thing is that's kind of how much it's broken down. We are already in a without rule of law situation. The cops just still keep their uniform on because they're still getting paid. But there's going to come a time in a very short time where even that's going to go away, and you're going to really see craziness, especially in the cities. And you know, if you could sit there and smoke crack on a busy street with cops going up and down it, and the cops ain't going to do anything to you, you know that there is no rule of law. Okay. So that is what it is. So sounds like live and let live kind of mentality. Okay, thank you, Tuck, for my question. No problem, man. Anytime. So it's like in Easy Rider, the Come at Night and Snack Jack Nicholson. Something like that. Okay, so example, hobo is a temp worker headed back home, homeward bound. Yeah. There's a lot of different we've already talked about this. So, but so kind of, yeah, the street people can be a bit pushy. Well, I mean, yeah, we're kind of forced into it. Just like you want. Okay, why do homeless shit on the streets? I'll tell you why homeless shit on the streets. Because you won't let them use the bathroom. You don't want to let them use the bathroom. Then you want to complain about it. But yet it's a natural human function. You have to eat, sleep, drink water, use the bathroom. Okay, those are normal human functions. You prevent somebody from doing it and then want to complain about it. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I mean that's what I'm seeing here. Is like all the bathrooms are closed. There's a lot more bathrooms here than in most places, but the bathrooms are closed. And it's closed off because other homeless have destroyed it. But it also, what do you expect? A human being still has to get rid of waste. Okay, if you don't, it becomes toxic and then it becomes life threatening, and you can't do that. So what do? Okay, some money next week. Yeah, no worries, system. Thank you. So let's see. Not like this. Anything new? We have seen it many times. Yep. Okay. If you're homeless, under 30, not a felon, not a drug or mental meds, fit and can't get a job, join the military. Well, I'm not under 30. I'm in my 40s. I did join the military when I turned 18. I went to Marine Corps. But I got a discharge halfway through boot camp. So it turned out I have bad hips. So yes. So your speaker skills are amazing. Thank you. Much appreciated, system. If you could provide one piece of advice for the president of the U.S. to empower people out of homelessness, what would it be and why? Oh, Andrew. Hey, Andrew. Nice to see you. Okay, if I could implore the president, that's a really, really damn good question. Because really, I think the most important thing that the federal government can do, if it really wants to stem homelessness, is you have to realize that the homeless that are out here, 80% of them are lost causes. You can't save them, okay? We're throwing so much good money after bad to be able to be able to help those that really have no inkling of wanting to help themselves to begin with. But that's where all the money's at, so that's where all the NGOs are. That's where they focus their attention. Guys like me that, we're productive, want to do something in society, want to get up on our feet, want to have stability. I think that there needs to be an accountability program. I think that there needs to be an education program for the homeless, because you may need to repurpose their skills, okay? Because of whether it be a work injury or something like that. But the homeless should, the total goal should be to reintegrate them back into society. So to reintegrate people back into society, you've got to take away the obstacles that are keeping them there in the first place, which is, for example, you're staying at a rescue mission. Well, you have to attend church at 7 o'clock, even if your job says so. And if your job makes you stay out and you miss church, well, I guess you get to go sleep out on the streets, because coming to church is more important than you having a job. How is that helping a person get a better life? Okay, it's not. Okay, programs like that, places like that, They're doing everything they can to keep homeless, to expand the homelessness. There has to be something that is done that is geared towards focusing on those that can still remain productive, those that can get back into society. Because there comes a point when you're out here long enough, okay? And I'm reaching that point, okay? Anything more than a year or two, you reach that point where you're non-repairable, okay? The long-term damage that's been done to me just in the last year and a half that I've been out here, I may never recover from some of that. It took me years to recover from what happened when I was in LA, going 45 days without a shower, okay? There comes a point, if you really want to fix homelessness, you have to help those that can help themselves instead of trying to help those that will never help themselves and that are just being enabled to continue doing what they're doing. Okay, the people that actually want to get off the streets, the people that want to be productive, the people that want to do something. Do you know, okay, for example, okay, I have to wait 2 months to a year for a place. I shouldn't have to. I'm trying to be productive. I've got money coming in. I am working on building the next chapter of my life. Why does a junkie get a place before I do? What value is he able to bring back to society? Because right now the government needs tax money. Tax money is what they tell us pays for the services. Whether it's true or not, something completely different. So why are you trying to help those that will never contribute to the system ever again, and churning those that have the ability to contribute to the system? That's how you fix homelessness. And it's never going to be done, because if you don't have mental health issues, you don't have criminal issues, you don't have drug issues, you have the drive and the warehouse, they think you don't need their help. 1, 2, they can't make money off of you. Oh, well, they could provide you a shelter, they get $500. Whereas if they offer you treatment and this and that and the other, all of a sudden that $500 turns into $5,000. So are they going to help me, or are they going to help some junkie that doesn't want to help himself? They're going to help them because they want to make the money, because it's about money. It's not about solutions. It's not about helping people. You've got to take away you've got to take away the bureaucracy and return it back to the hands of the community. Traditionally, it was the church and the community that took care of the homeless. That's why we didn't have the issues that we did until the last 50 years, okay? The last 50, 60 years is really where it's all gone wrong, because we took the power away from the community to take care of its own. We took the power away from the church by making them 501c3s. Okay, they are now creatures of the state. They have no more independence. They don't even actually teach Christianity anymore. They teach state Christianity, which is not Christianity at all. So, again, here we go. So, Andrew, I hope that answers your question. And for those of you who do not know who Andrew is, he is, if you guys have heard me talk about Homeless Entrepreneur, I'm working with him in his program, and he's putting me through. I got to tell you, I absolutely love the resources that he's putting there, and what he's doing is probably more helpful than any other program you'll ever get into. If you want to be productive, get on your feet, and get back into whatever is going to make you feel like a productive citizen again. It doesn't mean you have to have a roof over your head, but you need to be able to at least support yourself, okay? Bare minimum. And, Andrew and Homeless Entrepreneur, they have those resources, okay? So, Mitt Romney from, yes. Mitt Romney, that's exactly what I was talking about. You're intelligent, kind, sweet, strong person, Tuck. Thank you, system. Salafist looking homie. Okay. I'm not homeless, but I'm 18 and realize if I don't pull myself up and actually do something productive, I'll end up a bum. Even if you try working at McDonald's, what kind of career is that? So, Levi, I will tell you a story, and this is actually a story I was going to tell in a video that I'm going to be making here in the next few weeks. Okay, so when I first was experiencing homelessness way back in the early 2000s, I get to San Francisco. Okay, in San Francisco there was it was nothing like, the kids were like 3 to 5 years younger than me. I was like 24, 23, 24 at the time. Okay, so I was still pretty young. And you had kids out there that were 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, and it was just, that was all you saw was kids, and you're sitting there going, what's going on? Okay, and a lot of them were the products of what was going on with the wrongful diagnosis of ADHD. Most of the kids that you see out there today that are about 35 and older that are homeless are most likely remnants of what happened with the pharmaceutical and the medical industry, because during the late 90s and early 2000s, the teachers wanted the kids to settle down, so they kept telling the parents, your kid's got ADD. So the parents would take it to the doctor would just go, okay, yeah, you got ADD, here's a prescription. Well, it turns out you actually have to do a brain scan to get an official diagnosis. Well, what they were doing was giving legalized meth to a whole generation of children. Okay, so that's why we have the problems that we do. That's why we see what we see. Was it their fault? No, not necessarily. Okay, that was the pharmaceutical industry trying to be, not trying to be, being greedy and doing what it's, where's the heroin epidemic come from? Pharmaceutical industry. Most of the drug problems that we have in this country stem from the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, because what they're trying to do is they want you to take their pill because they're going to make money, because it's all about profit. And if you take profit, they don't care what the side effects are. There is a certain amount of attrition and deaths that they're just fine with. Okay, there's only 3% of people are going to die from this. Oh well, 97%. We got an effective drug. They know all the bad things it's going to do. But the thing is when it comes to litigation, they're going to make more money than they're going to lose. And so they're going to keep doing it. Okay. So, being young, what I would recommend to you, Levi, okay, is watch my video tomorrow about how to use your smartphone as a critical tool when you're homeless. Because one of the things I really want to focus on is I want to focus on making money, because there are more creative ways to make money out here being homeless than there are any other way. In considering a lot of people are going to be out here, it's going to be important that you know how to be productive. Okay. So most people, that's why I'm starting to focus on that. And so for those of you that are about to be homeless, that think that you're going to be in that class, that think that you might be part of the dispossessed, stuff like that, it might be time to start a side hustle, whether it be dumpster diving and searching for gems and reselling it on Etsy, or whether it be doing other things like doing side hustles and other gigs online. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to make money, but if you're going to survive homelessness, and if you're going to survive what's coming, this whole global collapse, you need to be able to level up your skills, and those skills need to be relevant to the economy in which we're in, not the economy we wish it was. We're not in the 1930s anymore. We don't need horse and buggy whips. We don't need all that stuff. So. Now that we're in the modern era, you have to look at technology as part of the economy, because it is. And so therefore, you need to figure out ways, level your skills up, because if you don't, the brick and mortar workplace, it's going away. With the automation of the workforce, it's all going away. Okay, so do you have Cash App, Tuck? Yes, it's down in the description system. It's $ Friar Tuck 81. But it's down in the description if you want to send me something through Cash App. Okay, so that will greatly help. So people where I live make 100K year producing food. You only have to work 4 hours a day, but every day you have to. Okay, okay. So not a water filter, but if you go back on trail, I'll send you a good filter. Okay. That's good to know. Okay. Do you need any tent sleeping supplies? I don't, quite frankly, I don't really need anything. I need a water filter if I go out on trail, but I got my sleep system. Everything I have is permanent. If you want to send me some stuff for my first aid kit, like I could use some scissors, some gauze, some stuff like that. But, I can go find that at like free places and stuff like that. But do I really need anything? I think I have everything I need. I know that I'm going to be doing upgrades over time, but I'm not going to ask you, because the backpack that I'm going to replace this with is going to be $300, $400, $500. Okay, but I want a better backpack that's put. Teton is an entry-level backpack. Okay, it comes with a lifetime warranty. They're replacing my backpack because of the warranty, but also at the other end, I've got a rod that is scratching the shit out of my back. Okay, and they need to round the tip, because basically what it did is, through the friction, is it just cut itself a hole, and now it's digging into my back. Okay, just from the friction, and I've only had the bag for not even 7 months, and that's long enough to do most of a long distance trail. Okay, like if you're going to do the ECT, or if you're going to do the Great Divide or something like that, 7 months is about right. So this backpack is supposed to last a lifetime, which means it should last me 3 years of everyday use minimum, before you can sit there and say, oh well, we're not going to replace it. Okay, this back should last at least 3 years for everyday use. Okay, so anyways, guys, I got 20 minutes left till I got to be out of here. So let's see if we have, okay, premium gear to replace some of the Chicon. Okay. All right, let's see here. 3 weeks dry, no booze. Congratulations, Joe. Okay. So I see you guys, holy cow. This is, okay, mine finally did. Okay. Okay. All right. So, wow, you guys, this is the first time I haven't gotten through all the comments before the end of the live stream. But I am getting tired, exhausted. My voice box hurts. I am tired. I am looking forward to chili dogs tonight. And oh yeah, I wanna show you guys something before we head out. So you guys saw this in my last live stream, the cup. Okay, so how durable is it? As you see, it's brown on the inside. I've been using it. I had a cup of coffee, had some soda in it, had some coffee. The coffee was good. But anyways, so what do I have to say about this as far as durability? Okay, so my backpack, because of where I sleep, where I go, and how I have this thing hanging off my pack, it's getting slammed into metal or into brick walls a lot. Okay, because we kind of always sleep up against the wall in some form or fashion. So as you can see, okay, now this is like slam, like when I toss my bag, I mean the whole weight, and it's bam. Okay, so, and the fact is you notice there's no dents. It chips the paint. Okay, I'm okay with the paint because that's my own. But I mean, you want to talk about something that's durable? I mean, this is from the wall because of how scratchy it is. Okay, but I can't even feel it. I can barely feel it. Okay, so, but if you guys want a really durable camping cup, oh man, I'm really impressed by this. It only goes for 15. No, this is either tin or steel or something like that, because it's metal. But if for 15 bucks plus shipping, that's not bad. I mean, I would say it's worth it. And I agree with people. If I were to bring it up to 20 bucks, I think that would be too much. 15 bucks is good. Now you are going to pay for shipping, but what you're getting is you're getting a novelty item. You're helping a content creator, and you're getting something that I created. It's just, it's kind of like, Star Wars. Some people went out and bought the Death Star. Okay, this is your Death Star. So, but anyways, I thought I would show you, just like, I'm really impressed on how durable this thing is and how well this thing sticks together. The paint is really thick, but like I said, slamming it up against walls, I mean, most everything else I had would have been dented by now. So I got to say, I'm pretty impressed by it. Okay, it's pretty good. So tomorrow at 9 a.m., I got a video coming out. I'm looking at, because I'm looking at my how to survive homelessness with just a smartphone. That's the video. I encourage you guys to watch it tomorrow. Okay, I got to work on the thumbnail, but I got the basics of it. So good call, but remind everyone, don't buy tourniquets off Amazon because of bootlegs. Only buy from reputable sites. Honestly, Alfred, I wouldn't even go buy it. You don't have to. Go to the hospital. Go to any medical clinic. Just ask for a little bit. And then the thing is, you keep piling. Make sure though, with the gauze and stuff like that, you put it in a bag, protect it, because it does get discolored really quickly, really easily if you leave it exposed. But like stuff like that, you can go get medical tape. Like when I got my foot taped, that's how I got my medical tape. That's how I got extra gauze. And I'm like, well, I need extra. And so, things like that you can do. Okay, so that's if you don't even have to go out and buy first aid stuff. Now, there are some first aid things that you might need to buy, but I've got a crap ton of bandages. I've got burn cream. I've got rubbing alcohol. I've got alcohol pads. I've got, the only thing I'm missing, I think I'm missing burn cream. I'm missing scissors. I'm missing gauze. I'm missing medical tape. Okay, but those will take care of the basic stuff. But you could go get a lot of that stuff when you go to clinics, especially if you go to homeless or free clinics. It's important. And the reason why you want a first aid kit is not necessarily for yourself, because I've used it more on other people than I've ever used it on myself. Okay, so okay, I have to walk a long ways to get anything done. I miss my, yeah. Mustard is good for burns. Yes, you're the second person that's told me that. And I've heard some amazing things about, it's porcelain cover, steel cup. Okay. They are very old school. Okay. Yes, I like it. I like it because it's durable. Okay. So Gada has techniques for fun shots. Okay. Gotta have tourniquets for, yes, and several cute. Okay. Yeah, it's very important that you have a first aid kit for other people. You don't need it for you. I used to even have like every time I would go get one of those ACE wraps for like sprained ankles and stuff, within like a week or two, somebody ended up getting that from me because I had to wrap them up. They're like, "Arr." I'm like, here, I got you. Because anytime I see somebody, that seems to be my role out here. Is if I see somebody that's having a medical problem, because I always keep medical supplies on me, I always stop. And honestly, that will play a very, very big role in your life. So don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Everything else is down in the description. You guys know what to do. You guys have been here long enough. I love y'all. Thank you for being here. I will see you on Tuesday, and we will have another live stream.